The rain poured down like icy needles, soaking through the thin jackets of people rushing past without a glance. The city was alive with noise, honking cars, shouting vendors, hurried footsteps, but in the middle of the chaos, a small voice pierced through it all. "Sir, please, take my baby sister, she's starving." The man stopped mid-step, the world around him fading into silence. He turned slowly, blinking through the rain, and there, standing under the flickering light of a broken street lamp, was a boy no older than 7, holding a bundled-up infant in his thin arms. His clothes hung off his tiny frame, his shoes barely holding together. The baby in his arms let out a weak, almost inaudible whimper, her cheeks sunken and pale. The man froze, his heart thundering painfully in his chest, feeling as if the ground had been yanked from under his feet. His name was Michael Carter. A successful entrepreneur known for his sharp instincts and no-nonsense attitude. He built his empire from scratch, priding himself on being logical, unemotional, focused. But at that moment, none of his business acumen mattered. His instincts didn't guide him, his heart did. Kneeling slowly, he lowered himself to the boy's eye level. "What's your name, son?" Michael asked, his voice trembling more than he cared to admit. "Daniel," the boy answered, clutching the baby tighter against his chest as if afraid someone might snatch her away. "Her name's Lily. She's hungry. I can't take care of her. Please." Michael's throat closed up. He noticed the boy's bare feet, red and cracked from the cold pavement, and the way he stood protectively in front of the infant. Without hesitation, Michael shrugged off his expensive coat and wrapped it around the children. "Come with me," he said softly, holding out his hand. Daniel hesitated, wide, wary eyes searching Michael's face for any sign of danger. Finally, he nodded, too weak to argue. Michael scooped the boy and the baby into his arms, feeling the sharp bones beneath their skin. They weighed nothing. Inside his car, Michael blasted the heat, cradling Lily against his chest while Daniel sat beside him, dazed, his head lolling forward with exhaustion. Michael drove straight to the nearest hospital, running every red light without a second thought. The next hours blurred into a frenzy, doctors rushing them into emergency care, nurses asking rapid-fire questions, forms shoved into his hands. Daniel needed treatment for malnutrition, dehydration, and exposure. Lily's situation was even worse. She was dangerously underweight, her little body battling pneumonia. Sitting in the stark white hallway, Michael's mind spun. How had this happened? Where were their parents? Why was a boy like Daniel forced to give away his baby sister to survive? When Daniel finally woke up, he told Michael everything. Their mother had died 2 years ago from an untreated illness. Their father, devastated and drowning in grief, turned to alcohol and eventually disappeared one night, leaving them alone in their crumbling apartment. Daniel had tried everything, begging, doing odd jobs, even rummaging through trash cans. But with the harsh winter closing in, he couldn't keep Lily warm or fed anymore. "I thought, if someone kind took her, she'd live," Daniel whispered, staring down at his hands. "I can go hungry, but she's just a baby." Michael swallowed the lump in his throat. He saw himself in Daniel, the same fierce protectiveness he once felt for his younger sister decades ago, before cancer had stolen her from him. The same desperation he had buried deep inside when he couldn't save her. That night, standing by the hospital window as the city lights blurred with tears he refused to shed, Michael made a decision. Not the logical, business-driven decision he would have made before, but the kind born from the depths of the heart. He would not let these children slip through the cracks. Over the next few days, Michael arranged everything. He hired the best pediatricians, set up a cozy home, and brought in tutors and counselors. Daniel and Lily would have every opportunity to heal, to thrive, to live the childhood they'd been robbed of. At first, Daniel resisted. He didn't trust easily. He slept curled up in a corner of his new bedroom, fully clothed, his shoes still on, ready to flee at any moment. He hoarded food under his bed, terrified it would disappear. Michael didn't push. He simply showed up, day after day, bringing Daniel meals, reading stories to Lily, sitting with them in silence when words felt too heavy. Slowly, Daniel began to unfold, like a tightly shut flower touched by the sun. He started asking Michael shy questions about the world, why leaves changed color, how planes stayed in the air. Lily, growing stronger every day, giggled whenever Michael made funny faces, reaching out her tiny hands toward him. One night, as Michael tucked Daniel into bed, the boy grabbed his hand tightly. "Are you gonna leave too?" Daniel whispered, his voice trembling. Michael knelt down, looking him square in the eye. "No, buddy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm here. Always." The weeks turned into months. Daniel enrolled in school, making friends, discovering a passion for drawing. Lily took her first steps across the living room floor, her laughter filling the once quiet house with music. Michael, once a man obsessed with profit margins and quarterly goals, found himself building Lego castles, attending school plays, and burning grilled cheese sandwiches. His world, once so calculated, now spun on the unpredictable, beautiful axis of love. One crisp spring afternoon, Michael took Daniel and Lily to the park. Watching Daniel race across the grass, his hair flying, and Lily toddling after him with a squeal, Michael felt a peace he hadn't known in years. A woman sitting nearby struck up a conversation with Michael, commenting on how much the children looked like him. "They're mine," he said without hesitation, smiling. "Not by blood, but by heart." Years later, when Daniel stood tall in a cap and gown, valedictorian of his class, he looked out over the crowd until he found Michael's face. "This is for you," Daniel said into the microphone, his voice steady. "For the man who stopped when no one else did. For the man who didn't just save our lives, he gave us one." The audience erupted into applause, but Michael sat frozen, just as he had the night he first heard Daniel's small voice through the rain. "Sir, please take my baby sister." That voice had shattered his world, but it had also rebuilt it, piece by piece, into something stronger, something more beautiful. Michael learned that sometimes, the greatest investments aren't measured in dollars or fame, but in the quiet, steadfast acts of love that change the course of a life forever. And maybe, just maybe, when you take a chance on love, you save yourself too.